Hey everybody, we dropped, if you followed us on Instagram, we dropped a picture and then tagged Strictly Performance in our picture about talking about big plans for the Suburban. And if you go back and listen to a few of our pit stop podcast videos, you know we were on the fence about what to do with the Suburban, because it's got 53,000 miles on it, which, you know, is really not that much per se on these vehicles. They'll go for a lot longer, but there was some decisions I needed to make, because I needed this vehicle. This is our primary, my primary travel vehicle. The Firebird's, nice and all, but can't get too many people in that, and so it's one, to work on the Suburban first or replace it. So checking around, looking at the trucks, we were thinking about doing the newer style truck with the L83 V8, which is an awesome truck, and just looking at the budget, finances, all that, and it kind of makes, for me it makes a little bit more sense with the way my job is in these cooler months with the lawn service. I have a lot more free time, I have a lot more flexibility in my schedule. So for me, it makes a lot more sense to spend less cents and put, a few $1,000s into, this vehicle. We'll walk around the outside and give you a few details on that once the trash truck's done. But just kind of to weigh all the options there. It's rides nice. So you've got some tweaks to do to the suspension, but I rebuilt the front. So I mean, it's just in overall good shape. I've only got my initial cost in it in 2016 was $3,000. So it's really not that bad. This is the 02 Suburban with the LT package. So it's got the auto ride in the back, two-wheel drive, which I thought would give me lower gears. No. When you get the two-wheel drive and the LT package, typically, especially if you get the auto ride, you also get 410 gears. Gas mileage isn't that awesome, but I think it's about 16, 17 highway. Around town, not so great, obviously. But the pickup and go with those 410s is really enjoyable. So it's very, it's got some guts to it, but in a kind of roundabout and all this rigmarole language of my unplanned thoughts here. What we're going to do, as I was looking around for a quick option, because that we could take the time and rebuild this existing motor, or just reseal it and do it on the cheap. I mean, this existing motor probably just needs oil pump, timing chain, resealed. I mean, it's got just a little bit of a knock on startup, but that's it. So this motor runs really good, which you keep that in mind. This motor runs really good because this motor is not going anywhere exactly. Anyways, but the space issue is kind of a deal where to consider, where we got limited space, and as we move farther into the springtime, I'm going to get busier with work, and I kind of need this to be done. So you're looking around, and I haven't rebuilt the motor, resealed it, any of that stuff, which I know is simple, but I haven't done that. And I want this to be, a vehicle we could take the LS fast, drive it, and be confident where my skill level is at the moment. That it would get us, around out of the state of Florida, which you try driving out of the state of Florida, we're middle of the state. It takes a long time to get anywhere out of this state. So, racking up miles I intend to do in this vehicle. I just trying to figure out the easiest and most concise way to do it. Seems to be to get a nice long block, and then, throw some parts at it. So we could have just got a basic long block from, numerous places. I didn't want to pay a cord charge and have to send it back, and that was, send this motor back. So, but I got looking around at Strictly Performance up in Kalamazoo, Michigan, and we'll have Bear put up a page of that. But I was looking at their PR 5.3, which is just their basic 5.3 rebuild, and it's set up really well. You read through. Let me see if I can. Try to pull it up here. We'll see if it's here. But looking at this motor, I'm like, man, that's a lot of good options. And they've got a nice variety of engines to pick from. They go through some pretty extreme builds. They got a YouTube channel, Instagram, etc. So they have a Boost Prep series and other 5.3 engines. And this is what I was looking at. It is called the Strictly PR LS series. So it's for Gen 4, Gen 3. So my engine configuration will be this. With the Gen 3 configuration, because that's mine's an 02. Iron block, I'm going with a BTR Stage 2 truck cam. Austin there was real nice, worked with me. He kind of recommended the Stage 3, but then talking back and forth with my friend Brian, he kind of said, well, for drivability, which is this, it's not going to be a full-out toy, it will be more drivability and highway driving. Maybe stick with the Stage 2 just to give you some low end torque still, because that's one thing why I want to keep this and not go to a CTSV or try to get a G8 or an SS, is that by keeping this, if something ends up being wrong with my GMC, at least I can hook up the trailer to this, still get to work, still get stuff accomplished, keep up with my jobs, while trying to figure out the truck. It might be a little crazy, might be a little control freak, but at least I don't have to go to U-Haul and rent a truck. So that's kind of another reason for keeping it. So, and going on with the options, it comes stock with the valve spring retainer for dual springs. That's LS option, or the LS1, LS2 options only. It's at the stock low lift truck cam, so it's got steel lifters. It has the trunnion upgrade, and what really caught my eye was the standard CNC port on their heads. And found out talking to Austin, they send the heads out to K-Tech for porting, which I thought was pretty cool. All right, Bear, taking a pause here to make sure I'm recording still, and I'm still recording. And and all of that for, look, $39.50. Still had to get it shipped. That was another $3.50, but still, so here's what some other upgrades that came with it. I've researched this stuff for a while. I'm not an expert, but I've done a lot of reading, and this is what they do to these motors. You get your cam, your BTR cam, you get the CNC ported heads, but you get LS6 valve springs, upgraded trunnions, milling oil pump, that's cool, new OE pistons, King XP series rod bearings, King XP series main bearings, LS7 lifters, because the standard LS1 lifters I don't believe are made anymore, so the LS7s are the replacements if I remember correctly. BTR cam bolts, oil pickup tube brace, reconditioned Gen 4 connecting rods, which is a great low budget way of strengthening your rotating assembly on a Gen 3 is going with those Gen 3 rods. Hard anodized top OE replacement pistons, OE MLS head gaskets, new lifter trays, new oil galley plug, new coolant plugs, new balancer bolt, new timing chain, which is a GM heavy duty timing chain, new cam bearing, iron blocks are baked, blasted, and painted. Cylinders are bored, honed using a torque plate. And from what I remember reading on the LS rebuild books, that torque plate is really crucial for getting your cylinders, resurfaced correctly. And engine blocks are decked. That's super important. Cylinder heads are resurfaced, multi-angle valve job, crankshaft polish. That's all awesome. All components hot tanked and final washed prior to assembly. Fully balanced rotating assembly. So just for me reading all that and then reading, whoa, sorry for the camera wobble. For me reading that and then seeing, wow, that's everything that I would want to do to the block and to make it strong and kind of get that performance out of it. And then, I don't have to take it anywhere. I don't have to, I buy it and we're good and ready to go. So, and looking at that price, I thought, well, that's pretty reasonable. One other option I looked at was, I think it's Powertrain, rebuilds their motors. And they had a nice option too, where it's a 5.3 long block as well. I think it actually comes with oil pan, valve covers, and let's see, valley cover, front rear mains. All that I have to supply for the strictly performance motor. But looking at that option, that's a good one too, and that ends up being about $3,500. You have to play at a core, so you end up about the same price. You just have to throw in more parts or your covers in for the strictly performance. But reading what they included on there, I kind of thought, well, I kind of would like to splurge and make this a little bit more performance oriented, say on this standard of Durango SRT, Trailblazer SS. That's kind of what I'm looking at. Make it, if we're going to do all this work, see how much power we can get out of it that's functional, easy to use, and highway friendly. Maybe not mileage friendly, but highway friendly. And not to mention, Brian's got a friend, Chris, who's going to be willing to tune it for me. He's done a little bit of tuning on the truck to eke out a little bit more power out of the 6.0 there, make it run a little bit cleaner, take some torque management out. And checked with him first, because all this work, new cam and a few other options I'm going to try to do, all that is going to take a tuning, which I don't know how to do. And it's nice to know somebody who can do it. And so I checked with Chris, and he said, yeah, sure, we can handle that for you. So, I got the tuner lined up, and so basically all the hard work comes down to me. So we got our motor picked out, and back to the original plan, to make this a dependable, or at least a more dependable travel out of the state, I really needed to have the trans in line and the motor in line, because I've got a huge rear main leak on the motor, obviously, and it's just oily, messy, nasty. It just needs to be done. Well, the transmission's original too, which, when you think about it, 253,000 miles on the original 4L60E is really a miracle if you think about it. Bear, checking the camera again. Wow, it's still recording. So, just looking at all that, I wanted to try to pair everything well together. So, looking for transmissions, I was looking around for Florida, and one that came up was Trans Depot, and they're over on the west coast of Florida in a town called Hudson. And looking through at their different options, they had a nice stage 2 transmission. Let me see if I can find those stats, read them for you. And I think that's what I'm going to go with, because you get the 5-gear planetary compared to the your conventional 4L60. So, and I know, if you're going to go all out performance, go 4L80. I totally agree with you. But I didn't want to totally shoot any possibility of mileage by doing that. And it's a little bit more work as well. We'll find out if I made a good decision, because we will take this to the track, in Speed World, and see what it does. But let me look at the stats here for this is their stage 2. All right, so this is Trans Depot over in Hudson, Florida. Let me read this off for you real quick. Free torque converter from 1800 to 2100 stall. That's something I might look into. A few people mentioned 2500 stall, or 22 to 2500. But here's the stats on the transmission. Heavy duty high energy Z-Pack clutch set, remanufactured pump assembly, which includes 10-vane rotor set, Teflon bushings, hardened rings, 500 boost valve. All recommended updates, about those. Transgo Stage 2 shift kit, heavy duty upgraded sun shell, super important. 29 element sprag, heavy duty with double cage, Kevlar performance band, complete OEM specs bushing kit, high performance Corvette servo. Had that in the Tahoe, was really nice. Installation error on that Tahoe, not by me, somebody else. And that transmission bit the dust. But one more thing, heavy duty 5-pinion planetary. So that's, if I remember correctly, that's what makes a 4L65E. And then obviously a high volume filter. So, and all that comes to $16.95 shipped, I think. I think that's the price. If I want to go up to a 2300 or a 2500 install, it'll be about an extra $600. So, and I could drive over there and pick up that and then save on, $200 on shipping, which, I totally understand the shipping prices. But anyway, so from just some basic reading, that looks like those two, motor and transmission, will be a good combination. Theoretically, we'll see how it works. So we got the engine ordered that about almost 2 weeks ago. This Monday will be 2 weeks ago. I'm filming this on Saturday. So we've got that ordered. Austin there helped me out with that, all the details there. So theoretically, maybe first week in February, we should have that. Brian said he should be able to set me up with being able to pick it up. And what else? Let's see. So then once we get it here, I had another guy in the area who does LS swaps into 240s. So really, really neat. He and his friend have a shop and do that. But he had the extra oil pan, valve covers, timing cover, and valley cover, because I want to leave everything, all the covers on the 5.3, so I can store it. And it might potentially be going into the Firebird. We'll see. That would be a good plan. But anyways, cleaning up those covers now. So theoretically, what we'll try to do is we'll get the motor here. I'll get it sealed, oil pump primed, covers on it, obviously maybe the balancer on it, and we'll get it basically ready to go in. And either at that time or before, we'll go over to Hudson, pick up a transmission, and then, which I probably should actually order that here pretty soon. Anyways, and so try to have all the parts here and ready to put in, so we can see how quick we can get, not how quick, but have the Suburban apart the least amount of time as possible, and be able to get it together. And a couple other, moving on to other options, performance wise, and maybe just better cleaning wise. They're checking the camera again. A few more upgrades I'm going to do too is I'm going to go with a Dorman replacement intake. I can get those for about $105. And if you've read about those, you know that the airflow in those is a little bit better than the stock intakes. Not as good as a Trailblazer SS, but similar to some of the fast intakes. So kind of maybe like right above this intake, but right below Trailblazer SS and above intake. So looking at that, I thought about the Trailblazer SS, but at this time I know that's the best deal, but this time I don't really want to switch over the throttle body and figure that out, or have to redo the fuel line where it's a one inlet hose instead of the dual inlet, and having to figure all that out at the moment. Because with going this route, we can do it in stages and start making little increases in power and get the tune right. And then once it's like, well, let's find a good deal on it, on an intake and a throttle body. Let's see if we can make some more power now. To take a cue from Jeremy at Faster Prompts. So we're going to do the intake. Stock throttle body. Probably be wise to go ahead and bump up our injectors. That'll give Chris more room to work with. What's nice about this vehicle is it's also the flex fuel. So you get that stronger fuel pump and you get the higher flow rate injectors. So I'll talk to Chris about that. See what we should do. They're original. I think I don't know if the fuel pump's been replaced, but we'll probably leave that until we're tuning the vehicle, see how it's doing, see how much power or, you know, more pump we need, maybe. See if the flex fuel one will be fine. I think Brian told me they're good up to 450 horsepower, so we might bump up try to get some new injectors. It's probably not a bad idea to do new injectors, since we're doing, you know, they've got 253,000 miles on them as well, so that's probably an option we'll look at. Another thing we'll do is find some long tube headers. I'm not going to spend a lot of money, probably do an eBay special. I found a set with a Y pipe deleting the cats, I think for 200 bucks, and it came with the heat wrap for the headers as well, so stainless finish. So we got that, and then also I'm looking at, this has the clutch fan, so I'm looking at doing a aluminum radiator and the electric fans, and then buying a control module from, I think, Just Chevy Trucks. They're up in Maine. You can find them on eBay. I think that's the name. I'll find that and we'll put that in here. But and they build the little wiring adapter, or not adapter, but the wiring harness, hub, relays, all that, and you just splice it in. You put the 2 pins into your computer wiring harness out there, and then when Chris tunes it, all he has to do is say, hey, fans are on, and set it from there. So that should create a little bit less drag on the system as well. I think really that's all the performance mods I'm looking at, really. And reasonably, I'd like to see 400, or at least, you know, we're going to be, you know, street dynoing it, so we won't see, you know, rear wheel numbers. Well, we won't see crank numbers, but I'm hoping to at least be feeling the effects of what would be 400-ish horsepower. So we'll see. Probably 350, 360 is probably more realistic, but we'll go from there. Let's see what I'm thinking about. Let's pause and we'll go outside and kind of show you stage 2 and 3 ideas. This is stage 1's the motor, just to make it dependable. I'm also going to put a electric cutout on there as well, just so we can get that sound, but then have the stock muffler. So for cruising, because look at all that cabin space, you put a nice MagnaFlow or a straight through muffler, you're going to have a lot of interior resonance, or in drone, which after a while is a little bit annoying. So, but do the cutout for playing around town, and then at the track, but then be able to close it for, you know, comfortable hearing. So let's pause and go outside. So we're outside here, and I forget the name of the blue on the Suburban, but kind of wet here so you can't tell, but the clear coat is peeling. I've got chips of paint here. The clear coat's all messed up here on the top. So just cycling through all this information last year, I was like, well, maybe I should just really upgrade to a new vehicle and, you know, already be dependable and just take care of it for a long time. And you know, that's not a bad option. But knowing that I have this time off where I'm working less, and that I'd like to get my hands a little bit more dirty with this LS platform, you know, it seems like it's going to be a better idea just to rework this, and you know, basically be just a learning experience, and then at the end of it be able to have a vehicle that's you know, roadworthy, trip-worthy, and you know, it'll be fun to drive. It's fun as it is, but just with this many mileage, you don't want to be taking too many chances and be breaking stuff. So I've been kind of babying it, and it's done really well. I got it in 2016, I think, in the fall. So, you know, only had it for, what's that, 3 years, a couple months. So it's done well. I got it with 226,000. It's got 253 on it now. So I haven't put on a crazy amount of mileage, really. But the main issue is the original trans, and you know, the rear main link. I just want to be driving up to, you know, say Corvette Museum in Kentucky, and then have some kind of a issue and have to replace it, or, you know, just spend a lot more money on a quick fix when I could have done all the major work when I knew that there was an issue, if that makes sense. So, but yeah, gotta figure out, we got all this plastic. So, you know, stage one, motor, transmission, exhaust, get the fans where we need them. So we've got the 20s. I want to stick with 20s, maybe not these wheels, because they are, you know, if you saw the videos, they are the chrome, and we just put the vinyl wrap over them, which has worked well. I really like these, the used, these Nito 420s. They're a very nice tire. You know, we did the brake upgrade as well, so we moved that. Those are the inch bigger rotors and the bigger caliper, and that same brakes are on the 07 and up Chevys, and thankfully that fits real well. It seems to be working great. You know, so the outside, the paint's, you know, kind of an issue. Got a few little dents and dings, but you know, normal stuff that you see at 250,000 miles. And but one of the big issues too was just on major driving. I just kept getting so much oil residue back here, and looking underneath the vehicle, it's just, there's oil dripping all out from underneath it. You know, just when it was cold, I could look at the oil pan, and there's just oil drip, 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 drip. So that's kind of one reason, you know, after Thanksgiving, I was like, okay, we really need to make a decision here and make some stuff happen. So, and that's why we decided to go the motor and transmission route. But see, the body's in great shape, and from a distance, it looks awesome. You know, it really does. You know, it's a great looking vehicle. So, but I am considering, you know, once we get the motor out, straightened out, we get the transmission, we get all the tuning where we like it, and you know, then budget some more money where maybe either the suspension drop, I'd like to see it a little bit lower, maybe a 3.2, and then we'll look at what to do with the grill and so forth. This one, we went to Cletus and Cars last April, and we hit that crazy rubber tire, or the rubber tire came up and smacked and broke this grill. So I wouldn't really mind doing a Escalade swap on here either, but those are all ideas, you know, all some things to consider. But yeah, you see, look at the body line on it. I mean, it's really in good shape. So that's kind of why we're thinking, okay, let's stick some money into it. Let's have some fun. Let's learn a bunch, and then what we take from here, the engine, transmission from here, we can clean up, rebuild, do a cam, reseal it, do some motor tweaks, and then maybe stick that combination into the Firebird, have our LS swap there, and be able to recycle the parts that way. So I'm going to pause the video right there, and if I think of anything else, I'll add it to it. But that's our plan for the moment. So stage one, motor, transmission, fans, electric fans, headers, you know, get it nice and driving. Stage two, either lower it and maybe do a coilover conversion in the front, maybe, that's kind of a neat idea. Or stage two or stage three, do either front end conversion or wrap the vehicle, stick with this front end, maybe update the grille, and then pick a color and vinyl wrap it. So those are kind of our ideas. That'll make it easier and more fun, take more people. You can't get too many people in that. It's a comfortable car, but not near as comfortable as Miles the Beast. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. We'll keep you updated on the progress. Bye.